If your budget is around the $600,000, the type of home you buy in the Twin Cities changes dramatically depending on where you buy. Because you can end up in a smaller, older home in Minneapolis or a newer, much larger home in the suburbs. And those two options don't just look different, they feel different to live in every single day. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what $600K buys you in Minneapolis, in the suburbs, and some of the fastest growing areas around the Twin Cities. And more importantly, which one actually makes sense for how you live. Because most people don't get it wrong on the house, they get it wrong on their lifestyle. Quick question for you. When you picture your next home, do you see yourself walking to a coffee shop or pulling into a quiet neighborhood with space in a yard? Keep that in mind as we go through this, because the answer usually decides everything. Let's start off in Minneapolis. This is where a lot of buyers begin. You're thinking, I want to be close to everything. Restaurant, parks, walkability, character. At around $600,000 in Minneapolis, here's what you're typically looking at. 3 to 4 bedrooms, around 1,800 to maybe 2,400 square feet. Older homes often built in the early 90s to mid-centuries. Neighborhoods like South Minneapolis or Northeast. Now on paper, that sounds solid. But here's what catches people off guard when they start actually touring these homes. A lot of them have charm, but they also come with trade-offs. You might see smaller kitchens, closed off layouts, older mechanicals, less storage. And sometimes you walk in and realize the updates you thought were done aren't really done. A buyer moves here from out of state, they say they want the city, they tour 4 to 5 homes, and then they pause because they start asking, wait, am I paying $600K for the location or for the house? And that's the moment when things shift. Now for some people, the answer is still yes. If you value walkability, being close to everything, the classic neighborhood feel, Minneapolis makes a lot of sense. But if you start prioritizing space, layout, and newer finishes, this is where the suburbs start pulling you in. Now let's move just outside the city, because this is where the $600K starts to look very different. In suburbs like Maple Grove, Plymouth, Lakeville, Woodbury, you're typically looking at 4 to 5 bedrooms, 2,500 to 3,500 plus square feet, open floor layouts, newer construction and recently updated homes, larger yards and garage. And this is usually where buyers have the moment of, okay, this feels like a completely different level. Because it is. But again, this is where the decision gets harder, not easier. Because now you're comparing a smaller home in the cities versus a bigger new home in the suburbs. And neither one is wrong. They just support different lives. So let me give you another real scenario. Let's say you're working remotely or only commuting a couple of days a week. Suddenly, extra space matters more, a home office matters more, a quiet environment matters more. The suburbs start to win pretty quickly. But if you're someone that wants to go out often, be close to downtown, not rely on driving everywhere, the suburbs can start to feel disconnected. And this is where a lot of buyers get stuck going back and forth. Because you're not choosing between homes anymore, you're choosing between 2 different versions of your life. Now let's go a step further out, because this is where things get really interesting at $600,000. The outer suburbs are fast growing areas. Places like Dayton, Otsego, Blaine, and some expanding pockets further out. This is where your money stretches the most. Here, $600,000 often gets you brand new construction, 3,000 plus square feet, modern layouts, energy efficient systems, and sometimes even the ability to choose finishes. And this is where buyers start to think long term, because these areas are still growing, which means new developments, new retail, new infrastructure, but also larger commutes, less established neighborhoods, and a fewer nearby amenities, at least for now. So now the question changes. You're not just asking, what do I get for my money? You're asking, am I okay being early to an area? Because some buyers love that. They want new everything, more house, future upside. And other buyers walk in and immediately feel this is too far out. Neither is wrong, but this is a very different decision than city versus suburbs. Now here's the part people don't think about until after they move. Your daily routine. Because that's what actually determines whether you're happy with your decision. Not the square footage, not the finishes, your day-to-day life. So think about this for a second. Where do you work? How often do you leave the house? Do you want things nearby, or do you prefer space and quiet? Are you hosting people? Do you need multiple workspaces? And I've seen buyers choose the city and then realize they want more space within 6 months. This is where getting clear on your lifestyle matters more than anything else. And I'm curious, which direction are you leaning right now? City, suburbs, or further out? Drop it in the comments, because this is honestly one of the biggest decisions people struggle with when moving here. Now, one more thing you need to understand about this price point. $600,000 is one of the most competitive ranges in the Twin Cities right now. So depending on where you're looking, updated homes in Minneapolis can move fast. Suburban homes in strong areas can get multiple offers. New constructions may give you more control but longer timelines. So it's not just about what you want, it's about how you approach it, because the strategy changes depending on where you land. At the end of the day, $600,000 gives you options in Twin Cities, but it forces a decision. You're always trading something. Location, space, condition, future growth. The goal is figuring out which one actually matters to you. If you're trying to figure out what makes the most sense for your situation, whether it's Minneapolis, the suburbs, or one of the fastest growing areas, feel free to reach out. I can help you map out based on how you actually live and not just what looks good online. And if you want more breakdowns like this, what different budgets look like, where people are moving, and how to navigate buying in the Twin Cities, make sure you subscribe, because that's exactly what I'm going to be breaking down for you.